We are now recording.
Sweet.
Anytime.
You ever twist your back and it just sounds like a bowl full of
Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispies?
Fairly regularly now. Since I turned 40, actually.
I was just about to say.
It's been doing that for a long time.
Well, you worked in logistics. That's the nature of the beast for that.
Surprise.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Established Facts. I hope that you guys are ready for an exciting new show. I know I told Jason when we started our sound check that I was probably not going to get any louder than this, and then I immediately lied to him.
No, you're good. You're good.
Anyhow, welcome to the Established Facts. We are a roundtable discussion style gaming podcast, and we are excited to talk to you about some fun upcoming things, as well as a little bit of celebratory fun. So before we get into that discussion, we're going to go ahead and introduce everybody. We're going to start over here to my right.
Hi. 13 years later, still Josh.
And 13 years later, I'm still his wife, Dr. Deb, and he needs like a counselor right now. So any recommendations below, but it needs to be technological therapy.
Counseling.
Technological therapy.
Technological therapy.
That is a field.
Okay.
Technotherapy.
Technotherapy.
I don't know if I want to know what technotherapy
I just
is.
invented it. You're welcome.
really
Whoever
good
it is
idea.
going to do that.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's see. I think this is 10 years later for me because I've not been here as long as the OGs. I'm still Princess Katie.
I have absolutely no concept of the passage of time. I have no clue when I started on this podcast, but I'm Avital.
Oh my goodness.
I'm Piercy. I'm running the board, doing some sound for Cats tonight. We got a little camera here, and I'm Eternal.
That's
we
my
go.
husband.
One of the Eternals?
Right. He's one of the Eternals.
Holy
That's
He's the
schmoly.
entertaining one.
That's true. That's really accurate.
Did you watch the movie?
Eros.
Yeah, the guy who's always in Bollywood is his
Yes.
son and his grandson
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, he's the entertaining one.
I like that. Woo! Well, of course, I am your host, Big Don. I've been here since the beginning. Still around. I think
Not dead yet.
not dead yet.
Not
Not dead yet. Regardless what the rumors have said. Day one ish.
It was? No, it was day one. No, was he on actual episode
No,
one?
Yes, he's on episode 1.
You're on
He's
episode
not
one.
on episode 0.
I am
That is
not.
correct.
However, I did make it up with the episode that we lost.
That's
that
dope.
one.
Don't
I can't
talk about
remember
that.
what episode that was, but it
Don't
doesn't
talk
matter
about
because
that.
it doesn't really exist.
No.
We don't talk
It
about
was
Bruno.
actually
We don't
just a
talk about the
conversation
lost
in the living
episode.
room about some really fun stuff that no one will
I
ever
think
know
we've
about.
Only lost 2, maybe 3 of them. 200 and something.
What's
That's a good percentage.
It is.
What's 3 amongst friends?
Yeah.
Anyhow, so
A good time.
as you may know, we are recording from Indianapolis, Indiana, the gaming capital of the world. Woo!
Woo.
And we have a pretty special event coming up. It's a small local con that we like to celebrate on a yearly basis. We've been doing it since I think 2000-ish, something like that, 2000, 2002 timeframe. I don't remember exactly. Called GenCon. It's just us and like 65,000+ of our friends.
Really a
Cool.
small, intimate kind of
It's a
gathering.
small,
It
intimate
really
kind
is.
of thing. It's a family.
You probably haven't heard of it.
reunion sense. Yeah, it's
Not like we talk about it every year around this time or
For
anything.
being such a huge con, though, there are people who I run into every
Every
single year, and I don't mean
Every year.
to. And I
Yeah.
just find them, and I'm
Watch
just like,
where you're walking.
how?
Accident.
That's accurate. I need
Yeah.
to like look up as I'm actually walking, but it's just wild. Like that, I'll be like, I saw you last year, what? And I wasn't really looking for you, but hi, nice to see you again. So it does kind of creepy out sometimes, like how like friendly it can be for 65,000 people.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that what's interesting is like the relationships of the people that you start at the con.
Yes.
And kind of what they turn into.
Yes.
So it's interesting that we're talking about these things because I want to talk a little bit more. I actually want to focus on some of these things for our discussion, at least for the first part, because, surprise, the other thing that we're celebrating on our podcast is that the Established Facts as of this recording, is now a 13-year-old podcast. 256.
Puberty.
I was going
right?
to say, we are now
Right?
teenagers.
That's right.
And that explains a lot.
Yeah, if we start to get a little more grumpy and you see lots of food scraps and dirty laundry all over the table, well, we're just going through our adolescence.
Yes,
We're
we are.
definitely going to smell more too.
That is a fact. That
Mood
is a
swings
fact.
are a
Yeah.
real thing at this stage in our life.
Right. We actually just discussed before the podcast that a gathering of gamers is actually called a stink of gamers. Oh. And I feel like it's probably going to be applicable now in our 13th year.
Guys,
Talk clearly,
guys,
that's something to
guys, we're the emotions
But from Inside Out?
from Inside Out.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Just the
The established facts is the
I like it, the inside out. Yeah.
the being.
I
that-
have not seen Inside Out 2 yet, but my daughter, who is now the expert, says it's
You
great.
haven't seen either one?
It's the first
You
one.
will
I'll make
cry in the first
Oh, the
one.
first one
Apparently
is-
the
That's
second
what I've
one's
heard.
worse.
Good. I've not seen the second one, but
You'll
I've
cry.
seen one scene that had me in tears, like just watching, like just one snippet of a scene. So I
If it was the one that made me
Here's-
cry, it's totally reasonable.
Here's what I will say about and we're going to get off this topic because
80.
Oh, yeah. You're really surprised we went on something.
no, not at
different.
all. I'm not. Nothing will ever make me cry more than the first
Is that what you're gonna say? Is up
the first 10 minutes of Up.
Up.
that
Yeah.
was like
the most traumatizing
such a
entrance to a movie
sucker
ever?
punch, and then the
Oh,
movie's
yeah.
just like,
Surprise!
and you just
I'm
sitting
a
there
Boy
like,
Scout trying to
it's
save
a
an old
goofy
man.
adventure.
Yes.
Let's totally ignore the
My God.
trauma at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Just
like it's sweet, but you're also just devastated.
yes. Right.
You are just
Yeah.
fully devastated.
So that being
I have
said,
goose.
Well, during Inside Out, at a certain point, I did go, I hate you, Disney. And my daughter's looking at me like, what, Mommy? You loved it.
Mommy,
And I was
what
like,
is happening?
I can't help we're saying. I know what I'm dealing with. And so I was just over like, it's okay. It's
Yes,
okay.
our daughter, who is both emotional and literal, it's pretty entertaining.
It is very entertaining. So when you watch it, box Kleenex right there.
yeah.
Well, I mean, there's one thing that I have heard that people cry about that I already know happens. So sometimes when I know that things happen, I'm less likely to cry.
That's fair. It's
Sure.
not like a
Fair.
surprise, you know.
But don't worry, there's lots in there that you're
I'm
not
sure. I'm
expecting to
sure
come
I
at
probably
you.
still could cry. I'm just a crier. But anyways,
All right. We're talking about GenCon.
Circling
Don.
back
Yeah,
over.
no,
that
that's
is
fine.
the goal that we're trying to
yeah,
get to.
We'll get there. Get there.
Stink of gamers.
A stink of gamers, right? Us and our adolescence, 13 years of podcasting. We've started one offshoot podcast called The Stable, where we talk about professional wrestling and all of the things that go along with some wrestling. Yep, you got it. Got the accent and everything. Some wrestling. I want to talk a little bit about that too. But first, I really want to focus on the big event that's coming around the corner with GenCon. But what I'd like to focus on, Josh and I the other day had a really fun experience with a buddy of ours named Sam, who is going to GenCon for the first time. I do not remember if he said his wife is also going with him for the first time or if she has been. They will be together at GenCon, but I don't know if she's been to GenCon or not.
I don't remember.
But Sam has never been to GenCon. And so it was actually really exciting because having gone to GenCon, this will be my 19th GenCon. Having gone to GenCon over the last 19 years, you start to run out of firsts. And I don't say that in a depressing way because there are a lot of things that I love going back to every year at GenCon. But even though there are so many things going on and so many events, it's interesting how you do kind of start to run out of those first ever experiences. The first time you walk into the exhibit hall, the first time you walk into your first Vampire the Masquerade LARP, the first time you sit down at a table in the Paizo Society room up in the Sagamore and it's just filled with hundreds and hundreds of roleplay gamers all trying to complete the same goals at the same time, cheering each other on from table to table, stuff like that. Like, those are some of the crazy experiences that you really only do get that first time. So what I want to talk a little bit about starting out with Gen Con is over the time that you have all attended Gen Con, what are some of your favorite firsts that you've experienced to kind of help people who maybe have not been to Gen Con have something to look forward to, or maybe think about like, oh, since I kind of know that this is coming, I can get really excited about this. Or so it doesn't matter to me who starts. Josh, you look like you're poised to kick us
am.
off, so go for it.
I know we gave this advice to Sam when we spoke to him yesterday, but it was the same advice I actually gave to my wife the first time we went, which was we are not doing anything day one, first few hours. Nothing. Like we packed out the schedules very early on in our lives, and then we had kids and realized we just want to actually enjoy this convention instead of run from room to room to room to room.
We need to be alive at the end. So.
But the very first time, and we've got all the practical tips will come in and out. I'm sure they will. But the very first time you go, the first day you go, we recommend Thursday for a variety of reasons. Take your day off. It's the least attended day. And usually it's a great way to get a lay of the land, which is exactly what you should do. You should walk in and get a lay of the land. You will probably not hit the entirety of the convention exhibit hall in day one, but get your map, get you something to drink, get you an energy drink or something, and just pick an aisle and start walking around, see people, demo games, talk to people, try some stuff out. If you are not a people person, stare awkwardly at other people playing games or whatever, but just be in it, because the look, at least I couldn't see the look on my face, but I did see the look on hers, and it was the sense of awe in it, because it's hard to put into perspective just how much room is there and how much is all dedicated to this same hobby and love that we all have. So just right out the gate, give yourself, we did say to Sam, give the whole day. For depending on how efficient you are, you probably could get a good lay of the land before lunch. But regardless, give yourself a few hours to just bask in that which is GenCon.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, the musk is much less.
Definitely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's your freshest day.
That is so true. First. Okay. Well, I've had a lot of firsts at Gen Con, but I think the one that stuck with me would be the first big Pathfinder Society game, where it was one story, but all the tables were spread out. So you would have the levels 1 to 4, you'd have the 5 to 8s, you'd have the 9 to, and they were spread out. Maybe even tighter than that. It was like 1 to 2, 3 to 4. But every level of group had a certain thing that they needed to complete for the story to move forward. So it didn't, your table mattered, but your table also was a part of a bigger story. And I remember, and because I'm like an administrative, like detail person, to be fascinated by watching as we were completing it, and then watching as our GM signals to somebody, and watching that somebody signal to somebody else, and that somebody signal, and like the map is changing as to, okay, there's enough people are starting to win here, and then okay, we've got enough that we can now open up this next scenario. Okay, here we go. And then the GMs are all just like, okay, next. And they're like rolling out the maps and okay, let's go. Because we've got to get, and you got time crunches, and it was so cool to watch all of these really smart, really nerdy people all working for this goal. And you would have thought that we had conquered the world. As each thing would happen, you'd get like the whole room would cheer. The whole building could probably hear the cheer that would go. It's like, all right, this is accomplished, and it's the final push. And it's so the care that they took to be able to do that, and the time and the effort all those people took to make that experience, I never experienced anything like it. And it made my detail heart proud. It made my nerdy heart proud. And in the end, we just kind of looked at it, okay, we all did it. And it was just such a nerds unite for such a cool experience.
Yeah, I agree. That is if you've never gotten a chance to play in like a big organized play style game like that, like a Pathfinder Society game, especially the con exclusives, those are you will not have anything like it. It is literally 1,000+ gamers cheering each other on as if it were a competitive sport. Like you go. It's insane. It is the most ridiculous and silly thing in the world, but it is so much fun. I still remember my first Gen Con, and I had been gaming with some good friends of my dad's. Actually, they got me into playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was 14, 15 ish, and they had talked about this, convention at the time. It was in Wisconsin still, in the late '90s, and then early 2000s it moved to Indianapolis. And I had heard about it and heard about it and heard about it. Had never gone, and then I started dating my wife. And I was trying
My
to
wife.
figure out if I should say, the lady who would become my wife or something weird and
You were just thinking
stupid.
too
I
hard.
was thinking too hard. Yeah,
He was just thinking about.
I started dating
distracted.
this super hot brunette who I married. And then we got to talking, and I got her into playing board games and some card games and some different things like that. And I said, so there's this event going on called GenCon, and I don't know a lot about it. I know that they play lots of games and things like that, but I was interested in going. I wanted to see, A, if you wanted to go, and B, if you're okay with me buying you a single-day badge, like if that's something that you're comfortable with. Because we had only been dating, I think, for maybe 2 months. So this is a big investment. Like in general, like I don't know if she's going to enjoy this time, if she's going to see it as a waste of money or whatever. So we went on Thursday. We went on the opening day of the convention, and all we did was walk around the vendor hall. That's literally all we did. We demoed games in the vendor hall. We talked to people. We met people. We had such a good time, and it was like, as an extrovert, man, I have never been so extroverted in my life. It was the craziest experience. Sitting down at a table with people who have driven hundreds, flown thousands of miles to just demo a game for 35 minutes. It is the craziest thing in the world. But I remember having such a good time, and at the time, my wife and I worked in a hotel restaurant. I had the weekend off. I was not going to GenCon. We went on Thursday, but I had the weekend off. She actually was working that weekend. And while she was working on Friday and Saturday, she mentioned to a couple of guys that were there staying at the hotel that she was going to, or that she went to GenCon for the first time. She would love to go back on Sunday, but didn't know if we would have the money to do it. And those guys, first of all, they were like, so you just went to GenCon for the very first time on Thursday? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. They paid for our badges for Sunday.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so,
cool.
so we went back on Sunday. She bought the badges for Sunday, and we went back on Sunday. And it was just like, we literally looked at each other, and we actually started a tradition every year after that. We looked at each other and we went, so next year when we go, what's this going to look like? What do we want to do different? What did we like? What did we not like? And it has literally turned into it'll be 20 years next year for us going to Gen Con.
Awesome.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's nuts. And now we have 2 kids that I have to buy badges for. And we have a third that gets a bracelet still for at least another 4 years, which
Coming
is great.
for us.
But it is so cool. Just like that, like when Sam had asked us about some advice, I just immediately went back to like a 21-year-old Don and just geeked out about the experience that I had the first time I walked into those convention center doors, and have never forgot that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, I'll pass it down the table.
All right. Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'll take the ball.
Okay.
So I also remember my first Gen Con. So the former host of the podcast, Mike, we both worked at FedEx, and I was in a ramp room at FedEx talking with somebody else because we shared a ramp room, and that's where we do paperwork. Don't really need to know what it is. And I was talking with someone, and I was like, man, look at these really cool pictures from San Diego Comic-Con. I would love to go to San Diego Comic-Con one day. Like, that just would be so neat to go. And Mike chimes up. He's like, why don't you go to Gen Con? And I said, what's a Gen Con? Indian native my whole life, had never heard of it. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, it's a convention that comes here. It's all about like gaming. And I was like, well, do they have neat cosplayers? Because at the time I was really into cosplay. And he was like, yeah. And so my first Gen Con was 2013. And it was my first year going with all of you nerds, kind of as a collective group of people. And that was, I'm going to say something slightly inappropriate. That was the year that Don's wife, Bonnie, the absolute angel that she is, I was crying because Don and Mike were going to do drow elves, and I was just going to be a regular elf. And I, being a 23-year-old girl who was like, you know, in pretty good shape at the time, I had like a midriff-bearing shirt and a little skirt on, and I was like, yeah, I'm a cute elf girl. And their makeup machine broke. So they didn't go as drow. And so I'm crying in the bathroom at Mike and Kayla's house, and I'm like, now I'm just a slutty elf girl. And Bonnie comes up to me and she puts her arm around me and she goes, but you're my slutty elf girl. And it was like such a friendship moment. And I was just like, oh, okay, it's gonna be okay.
Yep.
So
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
an absolute emotional roller coaster for my first Gen Con, because not only was I overwhelmed with all these amazing things, I had hyped myself up for this opportunity to cosplay with my new friends. And I was like, yeah, I'm making friends as an adult. This is great. We're going to do stuff together. And then it didn't happen. I was like, oh no, my everything.
Yep.
Here you are.
And here I am.
I was going to say 11 years later.
This is my 11th Gen Con. Is it 11? Yeah, because we skipped 2020.
Right,
So I've been
right.
every year since,
Yeah,
so
we
it
don't
is
talk
11.
about 2020. So
We didn't skip it.
Hey,
we
we
did
attended.
online.
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
okay.
We were online.
Well, I
Gen
didn't-
Con
thing.
goers.
Didn't physical Gen Con.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
fair. But we
yeah.
played more games during online Gen Con than we did the previous 2 years.
Yep.
Well, I mean, when you don't have to walk from room to
Yeah,
room.
fair, yeah.
Yeah.
I walked
Yeah.
in my refrigerator.
Hang out-
That's
Yeah,
what
you know.
happened.
Children are
Jim
fed,
James.
crying, or sleeping. Well, we're fine.
Really, it was just, hey, that one needs to go to the bathroom. Hey, roll that die for me.
Right.
I'll be right back. It was,
You can buy a whole pizza for the price of a slice. Yeah,
Fair, yeah, you don't have to pay convention center prices.
that's right.
and if you want to enjoy a little bit of an adult beverage, you don't have to worry about driving home or
Yep,
call an
you are
Uber or
home
a cab. I mean,
Right.
hello.
Fair.
You just got to stumble up the stairs.
Upstairs.
Rip Gen Con Online.
But
wish there
my
was
my
public
tip for a
transit.
first timer,
What'd you say?
along,
Said I wish there was public transit.
same.
You're not
Public
wrong.
more reliable public transit. We don't have much of it.
No, we really
Yeah.
don't.
Womp
Yeah.
womp. But first timers, I would definitely go with like what Joshy said and take Thursday to be your day. Like give yourself at least a few hours in the morning, because like Josh said, the exhibit hall is going to be less busy. You don't even have to stop and look at every booth, but if you give yourself time to walk up and down and make notes of, I want to come back and see this, the hall isn't jam-packed shoulder to shoulder at that point, because a lot of people don't take the Thursday off because maybe they don't have enough PTO or what have you. Give yourself that time. Also, if you are a person who is an absolute goblin like I am and you want to collect all the exclusive things, Thursday's the day to do it.
Absolutely.
Get your Crystal Cast coupons, go find your exclusive pin people, and go collectible goblin it up. Because that's like the first few hours of my Thursday is always that. This year, we're going to go to Lucas Oil and get the stamps. I'm so excited. Even though I can get them from the regular post office, I'm going to get them from Lucas Oil because it's going to be so cool and they're going to have people there signing them.
Okay, well, there you go.
I did not remember to give a tip, but your tip
I don't think I did
reminded me
either.
of something really quick. If you are a first time, or honestly, this is a just general Gen Con tip. If you don't really know where to start in like the exhibit hall, the coupon book. No, it's not as cool as the swag bag that they used to give millions of years ago, but just like Firefly, we're over it. But
It's never coming back.
I know. But
Liar.
when it comes to navigating the vendor hall, go through the coupon book, because they will have the booth numbers on there and it'll have like really cool promotional stuff, and that can help you guide through where you want to go when you want to go there. Also, grab a program, because there will be in like the first few pages there will be a map
Your
of
map.
the vendor hall, and you can just go through and go, okay, cool, circle this place, and that'll help kind of navigate where you go. That way you don't feel like you're so lost in the sauce. If you're somebody who loves to window shop though, just do it.
Start at 1 and
Yep.
work your way down.
And I can assure you, by and large, most vendors, especially on Thursday, they expect you to pop by, see what they got, and go, "Hey, this is my first pass through. I will probably be back." They're not going to be offended by it 9 times out of 10.
And then
If
the
they
10th
are, then
person,
they need to get
just
over it.
punch him in the throat.
That's right. The
pretty
10th
much.
person probably sells dice, and there's a bunch more of those.
Yes, yes, there are.
Anyhow,
All right. Well, I'm done with my experience and tip. It's Abidal's turn.
Well, let's see. So it was funny. Like, I knew about Gen Con. Like, I had friends. You know,
I had friends.
that
had
went
friends?
that went
Hi.
to Gen Con. Look, here they are. And but I wasn't like big into gaming or anything
Right.
at the moment. Like, oh yes, I have played board games as anyone has played the type of board games that everyone plays.
I
you know?
too have played Monopoly and Scrabble.
Yeah,
I will never play Monopoly again. I hate that game. Anyways,
wait, there's more games than just Monopoly and Scrabble? What do you... Oh,
There's Clue.
Wait.
Have you heard of Life?
What?
Oh,
oh, life, yeah.
What is happening?
The funny thing is, I wasn't the type of homeschooler that played Catan, so I've actually never played
Really?
Settlers of Catan.
Oh.
Never played.
Well,
Oh,
I never.
note to self. That's got to be
That's
an
gonna
actual play.
change.
I mean,
That's
at this
gotta
point,
play.
you just have to stick it out.
Yeah,
and
we'll
not do
we'll
it.
change that
You just have
at
to
some
continue
point.
to do it on principle. Like, it's just like when people find out that like I haven't seen like Ghostbusters and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm
back
not
here.
doing it now.
You're like, well, now I'm not.
It's
Yeah,
now I don't want
do
to.
it. Just don't do it. Just stick to
I
it.
don't want to. Anyways,
I mean, I know you don't like competitive games, so you may not like Catan.
no, I know.
unless you start an alliance with me and I have a sheep harbor and I will trade
you need
3
to-
sheep
no, no,
for
no.
every 1 resource.
Rock is always your
let
friend.
them
There's a
talk you into
reason why.
compromising
I don't
Mount
know what
Don't
that
do
means.
I love that. I have
We
no
will
idea what
still be your friend.
that's right.
Some of it will.
Jeez, Josh.
Not him. I'll still be your friend. Oh, Gen
I
Con.
will be.
Gen Con.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
Sorry.
Anyway,
so even though I didn't really, I was like, there didn't seem to be like a reason for me to go.
Right.
Then I found out about the like writers symposium.
Oh, yeah.
They just do like all kinds of little panels about writing things. And they're just free. They're just different, talking about lots of different things about writing. And I was like, okay, well, like I can go to Gen Con and I can like go to those writer events and like I can see my friends. This was even before I really was cosplaying or anything. I like picked us, but I was like, I didn't have that many geeky t-shirts. I was like, which geeky t-shirt will I wear today?
That is a big question. It's important thoughts here.
And so that was like what my Gen Con was at first. But because of going to Gen Con, I had, a big first, which was my first ever role-playing game, my first ever time playing an RPG. And for me as a person, I know that I would not have been comfortable, because I still am not comfortable going into a random game with people that I don't know and doing an RPG. And especially at that point, I hadn't done any RPG. I hadn't done any role-playing game ever. But it was Saturday night, and several of my friends are like, you should play an RPG. And so they're like, we're gonna make this happen.
I'm gonna drag you along.
We're gonna do an RPG for you. And as it happened, Derek was the game master, I think, because he had like an event, but I think like no one showed up or something.
Which unfortunately, that's a
So he came in and ran our silly little like Quags, sci-fi goofy little space adventure thing, and it was super fun. And
I heard about it. I wasn't in it, but I remember I
Yeah.
heard about it because you were in it.
Michael was the AI.
Yes.
Oh, I
Michael-
thought
yeah,
you were the
Michael-
computer. I knew somebody was a
I
computer.
was like essentially like Deanna Troy.
Okay.
Like I was the counselor.
You were in it.
I was the engineer running around trying to fix it, and he was giving me grief the whole time.
Yep.
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 Anton was a secret alien.
That's
Cylon.
Anton is
secret alien.
First of all,
Anton is
it's
a secret
not
alien.
secret.
So that's
It's only a secret
And
to
then-
people who have never met Anton.
And then
Love you,
my
Anton.
friend Nathaniel, my friend. He's my friend, but it's just funny because I still also think of him as my youth leader because he was my youth leader.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
He was allergic to aliens and there's all this kind of stuff,
Funny.
and
Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't even
Has
remember
he been
who
allergic
the
to
like
aliens and
the
secret
there was a
alien?
girl that was with us, like not like a girl, but like a young person girl. I don't even remember where she came from or who she was, but she fell asleep on the floor. But
Gen Con.
Yes.
But-
yes. Quintessential.
I had a really good time with my friends playing this role playing game, and I don't think that I would have. I needed to have an experience like that for me to have interest in playing RPG further. And then, like, Josh invited me to church for a game night, and it was like a little Pathfinder thing. And I played a half elf gunslinger, and then I was invited to the beginner session of
The Paragons of
the
Paladin.
Paragons
That's
of
right.
Paladin
Because
game.
I was in the other
and I was
section.
a half elf gunslinger. And, it's led to all sorts of crazy things.
Including your Twitch channel.
Oddly enough. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, probably. Although, honestly, I'm about to go off on a ADHD sidetrack and
You are a host on
Good
this
catch.
podcast.
about
Wait, no, hang on. Words get back in.
of how you can track my Twitch channel back to COVID.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I believe that.
because of COVID, Among Us gained popularity, even though it had already been out for a while. And I found streamers because of Among Us. Because the only like YouTubers I watched was like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, and then they were playing Among Us. And I found other YouTubers, and then I found other YouTubers, and I somehow found Minecraft YouTubers, even though I had never played Minecraft. And then I eventually started streaming, and now because also of different Minecraft streamers, I'm also following more international streamers, and which has somehow led to me watching a Brazilian RPG and reacting to it live on stream, and now the high majority of my viewers are from Brazil.
I mean, that's dope.
Right?
Isn't
Yeah.
that wild?
You couldn't make that up if you tried,
That's
so it has
wild.
to be all real
It's
because
And it's all Josh's fault. I'm just kidding.
I think it's Derek's fault because Derek ran the first time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll
It's
put Derek under
It's
the bus.
probably like Nick and Nathaniel's fault.
We love you, Derek.
You
Okay.
know what? That's probably.
I'm fine throwing
They were
them
the
under the
ones
bus.
that were like,
That's probably way more accurate. Sorry, the ceiling's falling in.
I thought
that would
banging
be
on
my-
the front door, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
I think
No,
it
that's
was
just
a
my
child.
son who's
They found
gonna,
us.
have
But-
drop on us from the ceiling. He's gonna land right there.
having, if it's your first time, having friends there is super, super nice. I mean, if you're the kind of person that is a lot more outgoing, maybe you don't have to have friends there, but having friends is super nice because they can give you tips, or even if they are also new, having at least one person that you know is still really handy. One also first timer tip that you really have to be prepared for is just, if you have never been to GenCon, it is simply unlike any other convention that you have ever been to. It is long, and it's not a sprint. It is a marathon, and you have to be prepared for that. You have to not have water. If you want another drink, have another drink, but have water. Have snacks with you, even if it's just a couple. Like, you don't want to carry a huge bag. You don't have to. A lot of gamers do, right? Big backpacks. We understand this, but have some snacks because if you're gaming and you can't get away to get food, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Have a
Also,
towel.
It's expensive.
Have a towel.
Yes.
Have a towel.
Yeah.
Don't forget your
Always carry a towel.
Yeah.
It's true.
Thanks,
And
Hitchhiker's
the
Guide.
answer is 42.
That's right.
I didn't give a suggestion.
That's okay. We'll
Our
come back.
engineer
We'll do
hasn't
some
gone yet
we'll do some
either.
more tips and
True.
stuff too. Yeah.
It's true.
Do you have one right now?
I mean, I kind of do.
Okay.
I was going to say that the thing that I think I struggled most with when I first went to Gen Con is, as someone who is a sensor, as part of my personality, it's going to be a sensory overload. Because there is
yeah.
so much
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Everything. I mean, sounds, sights, smells, tastes. I mean, oh my, literally everything from the food truck outside to the attention Gen Con attendees, and you jump out of your skin because he's so flippin' loud. Literally all of it. So I was having a blast, but early on, it would have been wiser if I had been able to, at the time, look at my boyfriend who became my fiance not too long after that, but look at him and be able to go, I need a break. Because early on, I didn't. And it was precisely. And it would go.
Why would you want to stop?
Right, because you can honestly not stop, and you will just keep on going because there's so much there, and then I would be exhausted by end of Friday, and I still got two more days to go on this thing. Oh my goodness! So stop. And I know, it's deeply insightful there, but just stop and sit down and just decompress. Eat your snack that you're going to have from Avital. Drink your water.
I will give it to you personally.
See, and
Here's your snack.
Right,
Trail mix, granola bar,
but
for
just
snack.
take a breath because
You
otherwise
just
it's
said you didn't want a big backpack.
Well, you know what? If she's bringing the
I'm
big
not even
backpack, I'm
going
sitting
this
next to her.
year, so
Yeah,
good luck finding
I'll
me.
walk up with a bag of 100 peanuts in it or something.
pretty much.
Not peanuts. I don't want to
Legume.
kill somebody.
Oh,
I
damn it.
don't want to
Yeah,
kill somebody.
See, she's thinking about the allergy people out there. So take a breath and stop at regular intervals, which goes along precisely with what you said. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Because after a few years of doing this, I realized I was like, I need a break. Like I need to sit down and I need to eat my snack in some peace and not running from one room to the other as we're trying to get to that game because we scheduled two games too close together, and I didn't realize that you could run this fast through the convention center and you can run up the escalators as you're trying to just stop.
I thrive on that chaos.
See, so know yourself, know thyself.
Same.
And if you're like me going, no, I'm going to sit here because, I don't need a nervous breakdown on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock when I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to my 12 o'clock game in time because I need to be able to buy the thing that's at booth 10-17. And if they run out of it, then I'm not going to be able to make.
You're giving someone an anxiety attack right now.
Yeah.
That's because it would be in my head. So I'm telling you, if you're the person that needs to stop, tell
Yeah,
your best
slow
friend who
down.
went with you, stop. Can we just sit for a minute?
Yep. Yep.
Before we send it over to Jason, I've seen this at some conventions. Does anybody know if Gen Con has like a quiet room?
They do.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They have a
Good.
quiet room
Positive
for
of it.
people. They
Good.
also have, as a separate area, they have nursing rooms for nursing mothers.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Good,
it's
good,
like they have a quiet sensory
I think
room.
they call it a
have
sensory room.
Yeah, they have the sensory room,
Yeah,
and they also
right.
have a separate area that's for nursing people. Like they
Very
do a
good.
really good
Good,
job
good,
of
good.
trying to make spaces for people who want to enjoy Gen Con but cannot be in that hustle and bustle the whole time.
Yeah. Okay.
They
Awesome.
also have an outside.
Yeah, but it's
I don't-
Indiana
no, no,
in
hang on.
August, and you might
Hang on.
melt.
I don't say that. I don't mean that in jest. I mean sometimes what you need to do is go outside, get some fresh air,
Some vitamin
even
D.
if it's hot. Like, just soak it up for 20 minutes. Get a little bit of that release from being around lots and lots and lots of people, lots and lots of noise. Here's what I will say too. Even having worked security at the convention center several years ago, as a full-time security officer, just the exhibit halls with lights on, no people in it. There's a constant hum of noise. There's a constant hum of the air conditioners. Just get outside and let some of that just kind of lift up off your shoulders a little bit. Take a 15-minute, 20-minute break, walk over to the Speedway gas station and grab a cheese stick and come back,
Legit.
and then enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Like,
Could
and-
not
Yeah.
agree with you more.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Sit on some grass.
sometimes- Yes.
and
There's
look
a
at the
park.
sky.
There's a park literally across the street from the convention center.
There is.
Yeah,
It's-
and you can catch
It has
tons
a
of
little
Pokemon there.
fountain.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm interested to hear about you because I think your Gen Con experience has been different than a lot of people's.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, it's all you.
All right.
You got the floor.
Thanks. It has. So when I first went, I went because I enjoyed the L5R card game. And then I would go and play in those tournaments and almost won with a Scorpion. Didn't. But we cosplayed. And I had never done that before. And I didn't know it was cosplaying. I was like, I want to dress up like a samurai because samurai are awesome. Right? And that's what I wanted to do. So we had the Jingasa, and we made the kimonos, and they were all in the like types and styles of the clans for the thing. And we won like best dressed in the competition or whatever. Went to a LARP for it. It was cool because I love LARPing. I don't know if anyone knows this about me. I like LARPing.
I've heard that.
And that's what I went first. So my first experience at Gen Con was actually cosplay. I remember going there
So fun.
and like being absolutely in love with the stuff that people were wearing. I didn't necessarily totally want to do all of it right, but man, that was a really cool Space Marine, Space Wolves, right? Or the Drow. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. All the people that were like the Drow clan or the Drow people.
The ones
The
who were
ones
in
from
the black and
Pittsburgh.
yellow, they were all from Pittsburgh.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am friends with a couple of them on Facebook because
also
we
did
actually
Drow.
we met up with them a couple years when we did Drow
Yeah.
and got
Did
pictures
like a bunch
with them.
of pictures and stuff. Yep.
It's super because those folks like that just like etched in my mind. It was the same year that R.I. Salvatore was there, and they had the
Mm-hmm.
the Lulf
had the huge
books and like the
spider
huge and I was like,
yeah, dude.
I love all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I love all this. Like, and they were fantastic cosplayers, like fantastic. I'm like, you guys look like Drow. Congratulations.
They are LARPers too. That's why. That's
I imagine, yeah, I totally
That's
imagine.
what they do in their LARPs. Is they actually are Drow in their live action role plays that they do.
Yo.
That is super cool. So that was my first experience, right? And from there, it's grown into more of like an experience of industry. So if it's something that you want to get into, and this is going to be my advice, right, for a first time goer. If you're going to Gen Con because you actively want to, you think you have an idea or you're creative and you want to somehow get into the industry, talk to everyone. And but don't do it in a way like, hi, I'm this person, I do this, where's my job, right? It's like, no. Get to know the people as much as you can, ask questions,
Yes.
and just show interest. And then talk to friends who want to do it and go to panels and learn how to world build or learn how to self-publish or learn how to do mechanics for card games. Whatever it is that you want to do, Gen Con is a wonderful experience to go learn from. Kind of mimicking what you were saying, Avital, is like, oh, they got these writers panels and whatnot. Yeah, go to those. You're going to learn and you're going to meet other people that you can then work with. And then you're going to go back and run games with those people. And then you're going to get better creating those games and running those games. And then you finally come back at some point with a product. And then you're in this weird place where you're talking with people that you never thought you would when you were 13 who wrote all these books and played these games that you played in. And it's just a really cool experience because they're all just people too. Mostly.
We leave out the one cyborg. We met,
Some
but
of them
we'll leave
were
that
out on the lizard people.
Well, I mean, he's a lizard person. So.
Yeah, I basically am. I enjoy the heat. Also, oh yeah, go outside, go to the Wednesday, go to the Sun King thing. It's a lot of fun. But just go get involved. If that's what you want to do, go do it. Have enthusiasm, but have respect. And that's my advice.
That's
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Don, we should probably talk about the whole 13th anniversary thing.
What?
Yeah,
When did
right?
that happen?
Today.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, wasn't it
Happy
kind of
anniversary.
connected? Happy anniversary. Wasn't it
Yeah.
connected
What's
to
the-
Gen
what's
Con?
the
Wasn't that the whole
Yeah,
point?
our very first episode was a pre-Gen
It was a
Con
pre-Gen
episode.
Con episode.
Anniversary. What's the traditional wedding gift for the 13th anniversary?
If only I had all the collective knowledge of
did.
the entire planet. Oh, you're already
Fur
doing it. I can't
and-
see through Dawn.
Fur and textiles, y'all.
Fur
and textiles.
So you're buying me
So
silk.
cosplay.
So cosplay.
Fur and textiles. It's our cosplay anniversary.
Cosplay anniversary. Love everything
like it.
about that.
That's
I
so
like it.
funny.
I'm in.
Amazing.
Oh, that's so good. That's
That's
so
oh my
good.
gosh.
amazing.
Perfect. That's
Wow. Yeah. So
And on that note,
I know I've told this story before, but the Established Facts podcast was an idea that stemmed from a conversation that I had with a guy who has never been on our podcast.
Not
Correct. Not even one episode.
Our friend Josh Wooten, actually, friends of the show over at Elite Encounters, Overwatch, is actually that's our friend Josh Wooten. He and I had a conversation years ago
I saw him in the chat.
about starting, because podcasts had only just kind of started like online and stuff, but it was still all pretty much all audio medium. There wasn't really any platform for like video medium or anything, and this was in 2008, something like that, 2008, 2009. So really before like the huge push for like podcasting. Now there's a podcast.
Everybody has a
every time
podcast.
you sneeze.
Yep.
Which is actually, I have no problem with that.
No.
I think it's great. But we were having a conversation about how cool it would be to start like an online radio station where we just talked about like really fun like gaming and nerdy stuff, and like, you know, we could put music into it and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, this is great. It's a lunchtime conversation. I think we were coming back from Wendy's or something like that. I don't really remember. I was riding with him. We had just had lunch, and we were going back to our office. And then 2 years later, I had heard a little bit of noise from Mike, who was our original host, and Josh about how they were going to be starting a podcast. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I got a little bit of a fear of missing out. And I was like,
Sometimes
sometimes.
I feel you. I get FOMO too.
Yeah. I'm
I
just
do
saying.
too. That's why I'm acknowledging
Yeah.
it.
Okay. There are a lot of times that I feel like I'm missing out on something, but then I make up for it by being an extremely humble person. So anyway, like I was talking about myself and Josh having a conversation about this. No, I had heard about this idea that Mike and Josh and our buddy Josh Wooten had. And then I was like, isn't that what we had talked about doing like years ago or something? And then I got a message from Mike and Josh about coming on and being on the podcast. And then, of course, at that point, yes, I'm in. Duh.
Don't question that.
Yes. And I remember sitting in the living room of Josh and Deb's apartment, Michael Massey laying on a love seat with a microphone on a boom mic
It was that love seat.
backwards, because it was literally over his head.
Yep. It was that love seat right there.
Our friends Jeremy, aka Ragar, Derek, Anton, Josh, Deb, myself. Was that it?
That was enough.
Yeah, yeah.
There was
I
enough
think that was-
personality in there.
A decent number of people.
Yeah, and I remember us just like we had gotten all this stuff set up, and we're, you know, Josh is still. I think you were still in school at the time, or finishing up school at the time. I don't remember.
We had just graduated because Deb and I
Just
did
graduated.
together,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And so Josh has got all this set up and stuff, and we literally, like, I can remember looking at my microphone just like as if I am right now, and I went, how do we do this? What are we actually doing?
I remember you asking that
Yeah.
question. It's so
I was
wild.
like, I don't
remember that.
What are we actually doing?
I don't remember going, that's a great question.
Yeah. What are we even talking about? And
Right.
And that's when we came up with our original format, which we still dabble in, but I think a lot of times we get more into like discussion and stuff like that, or doing like game demos. But we got into our original template of our episodes with doing like a versus topic at the beginning, and then doing a discussion based on that versus topic. And then because of the origin of the name of our podcast, The Established Facts, then we coined the tradition of something quippy, something silly, something punny that pops up in the show, kind of being the end cap for the episode, our established fact.
Established fact.
But I just remember, you know, we were talking about con firsts. I just remember that first episode, and if I remember right, the first established fact was homebrew rules? No. What's the term when you
House rules.
House rules allow you to cheat legally. That's it. That was our very
That's
first
number
established
one.
fact.
I can still
Yep.
remember it too.
Yep. And
Because we were talking about how a homebrew versus following more traditional, like a
Yes.
D&D 3.5 rule. Because back then there was
Yeah.
no Pathfinder, kids.
That's
D&D 3.5 or,
well,
or
no,
3.0.
no, Pathfinder was still there. Pathfinder started in 2007.
Yeah.
Our first episode.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Okay. Then
But
what was
we-
it that got us
but-
in? I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, because we
At
weren't
that
playing
point.
4th Ed. We were playing. We were
Playing
we were,
3.5.
We were
Of course
playing
you were.
3.5 and we were
Why
playing
would you-
Pathfinder.
Why would you not?
Who actually
I
played
ran.
that?
I ran 3.5.
Yeah.
Josh ran Pathfinder.
Because my first game
Yes.
was with you, 3.5. That was the very
Yeah.
first cleric that I played.
Yeah.
You were my first GM.
And yeah, and that was our discussion was like authentic rules versus like homebrew rules, you know, like house rules and stuff. And I just remember getting done with that and being like, wow, it's over. Like that was our first episode. It was wild. And then I remember when we did our 100th episode and we were like, we're at 100 episodes. Like, what else do we have to talk about? And so the fact that we're 13 years old and at 256 episodes, and you know what? The thing is, are they all great? Yes.
It goes with that humility that you were just talking about earlier.
He was humble. He didn't say the podcast.
That's
was.
Oh,
right.
I'm so sorry.
It's 13.
Clarification.
Is it gonna
That's
be
true. We're
humble?
13. We're
Like-
superheroes. Are
Here's
you
the
kidding
thing.
me?
I will challenge any of you to go back and listen to all 255 episodes plus the bonus episodes that we've done. And I'll let you tell us what episodes aren't good. 'Cause if you listen to all that content, you deserve it.
You're qualified to
You
say whatever
tell
you
us.
want to say.
That's it.
Oh my God.
That's it.
Oh, yes.
Which,
But
by the way, we are you mentioned all the pages that we've been checking that really are not up to date. The established facts up to date that's still the established facts to date under construction is 190 established facts behind.
Oh my god.
like I said, if you can go back and listen to those,
You're gonna be
Just really
typing a
help the
long
guy out.
time, Josh Emery.
I did not say I was doing
I
that.
That's
did.
a lot of typing. He did.
I did.
He threw
Yeah.
you under the bus.
10
Okay.
years ago.
Yeah.
He volunteered.
I did.
I just haven't. He hasn't actually asked how to do it.
I did.
So
anyhow.
in our next episode, the last 5 minutes is going to be an update on where on earth this whole project is at.
Yeah.
Be like construction on
We'll see what
465.
Episode 40, the established facts. Squirrel.
Yeah, that tracks. That still tracks to this day.
It's still.
So you know, as a day oneer on the podcast, I think what's wild is just to kind of think about how the podcast has changed, how our gaming lives have changed. Because, you know, at that time I had, 13 years ago, I had one child and one on the way. Actually, one a week away.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the landscape of what we do in our household for gaming and things like that has changed drastically, especially when we had, you know, our youngest now is 8 and he can kind of handle a little bit longer of a game. But for a long time, we were like 20 to 45 minutes and out kind of a game. Like, and not to say that we wouldn't continue to play more games, but you know, when your kids are that age, they don't have the attention span. I mean, honestly, a lot of adults don't have the attention span to go more than 45 minutes, and that's okay. But we really had to tailor a lot of the games that we play and a lot of the way that we teach games to kind of that time frame. And what's been interesting is just to kind of see the evolution of the gaming sphere and how things have changed, how they haven't, and what challenges or what things we're enthusiastic about to talk about on the podcast, and to really get into discussion points and stuff. And I feel like, you know, for the next few minutes, if we can, you know, talk a little bit about like things that we've seen change in our own gaming lives and in the podcast, and maybe things that we want to see, you know, in whatever our future looks like, however long that is. Because at this point, I mean, we thought we were going to be done after 100 episodes, and we're 256 in and 13 years, and you know, I guess we're going to roll it till the wheels fall off. Like, who knows?
Hey,
Who
we
knows?
absolutely have to talk to Uncle Tracy again this year.
That's right.
I mean, I'm just saying we got to make it happen, boys. So make some magic happen, because I miss.
I mean, we
chatting
are
with Uncle
talking.
Tracy.
We are
I'm
talking.
talking to him in like a week and a half.
Yeah, we are talking to him.
Well, I was not going to tell him that, but you just did. So, okay.
Sorry, we're talking to Tracy and
Wow,
we're
surprise.
excited.
What a surprise.
Shocker.
Shock and awe.
For the
Not
first
Swift.
time ever in 2024.
In 2020, that's accurate.
Minus all the emails and correspondence that we've had. Those
For the
don't count.
first time
Yeah.
recorded in 2024.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to hear from you guys.
I literally just forgot what you asked us to talk about.
That is okay.
How our gaming lives have changed and how our lives and the podcast have changed and just in general since
Just
we've
what's changed?
started
What's
and
different?
we've
Changed.
what's new and different and
Changed.
funky fresh in your life.
See.
Oh, look, Dr. Deb goes first.
I don't normally, actually. I don't think.
Do it.
So I have to say, I think it's something that I've probably just in the last probably year and a half when I had the revelation of this. And I need to be even better about it too, but needing to be more deliberate about that we are going to play games. Because when you don't have children, as we did not have any 13 years ago, my oldest is 9.5, so we did not have kids. So therefore hey, you just want to play a game was a pretty easy conversation to have. Whereas now, hey, you just want to play a game does not always compute. When are the kids going to bed? When do they last have a snack? Did we promise them we were going to take them to the pool? Do they have to be up early next morning for something? The list goes on and on. And so we do better when we schedule and say we're going to play Tales of the Red Dragon Inn. We like specifically, we'll make that
We deliberately moved it from this table
Yep.
to our dining room table
Yep.
so that when we're like, hey, we're hanging out with the kids, they're watching a show, we're going to play a game. We can pop the dining room table off and play in there without leaving the dog, leaving the kids, that type of stuff.
There you go.
Nice.
being more conscientious about thinking if we're going to game, where is it going to make the most sense and how is it going to make the most sense? And that is not something you really had to do 13 years ago. We have to be more conscientious about when we're scheduling our big RPGs and who's coming over and when are we doing dinner. So, when you're 25 years old and you've got no kids, you'll figure something out. You'll grab whatever's in the back of the fridge and, pray it doesn't kill you. I mean, you're good. You're up till 2 a.m., but it's all good. Well, when you got kids that are going to melt down or turn into the Hulk, like my son, if they are not in bed on time, it changes. So more conscientious, more focused on taking the time to do the things we love, because we do enjoy playing games. We enjoy it very much. But if we just let it happen when it happens, it's never going to happen for us.
But on the other side of it, it's also finding, like Don said, games to play with the kids.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
our kids
exactly.
have got their own Calyx collection of games over here at
Yeah.
this point.
Yep. And there are
So-
some they specifically, like Samuel will be like, hey, can we play Quest Kids? Or Maggie, like, hey, can I learn how to play? I want to learn how to play Ticket to Ride. So we got her Ticket to Ride the Kids to get her kind of, started onto that. We want to learn how to play these games. My Samuel wants to play Guess Who. That's a Guess Who from my house. That Guess Who is probably 35 years old, but he loves to play it with me. So we'll play Guess Who. But taking the time to, figuring out the games that the kids can enjoy. And then if there's games that really aren't up their speed, well, then how are we going to do it in a way that we can still keep our family life intact and keep us sane? So you choose to do what you want to do. And if you don't choose to do it, you don't always get to do it, right? You have to prioritize what matters. And if playing games with your friends or your significant others is important, we have to choose deliberately when to do that. And I think that's one of the biggest changes that we've had, and we're still learning and figuring out how to do that.
Sure. And I think I'll tack onto that just to go ahead and just keep that kind of story element going. Yes, finding time to play games, board games, video games, whatever, with your significant other, playing those games with your kids, of course. And we, in particular, especially as the years have gone on with the podcast, have been deliberate about limiting our involvement in role-playing games, but making sure that involvement is good and beneficial. We've been between Lance, who's not here, he's dealing with some health stuff. We're praying for him. Thinking good thoughts, whatever positive vibes you want to send, please do. Lance and Vanessa moved away from us, but since then, with COVID and changes to role playing games, I think we've played more games with them since they moved further away because we're deliberate about it. And
Yeah.
a similar thing happened before COVID when I started running this Age of Ashes campaign for Pathfinder 2nd Edition with the Martyrs and at the time Kayla, and now Mike has joined us as well. We were being very deliberate at the time, like we want to maintain that relationship, friendship. Since when we moved to this side of town, everybody moved a little bit further away, so we had to be deliberate about it. We're not going to the same churches anymore, so we wanted to maintain those relationships. So when it comes to gaming, both I think for Deb and I, it has been about strengthening relationships and friendships with certain groups of friends, and not because we don't want to do it with other groups of friends. It's that we can take on two. Like we think, and two sometimes pushes it, but anything more than that, like we know now with our lifestyle that 2 role-playing games is as much as we're going to get for the long term. One shot's a different thing. And that rolls me into the podcast side of this too. I am speaking this of, I will admit it's a struggle to want to continue when life is so busy. And yet we keep coming back. And yeah, I'm sorry, we're not the podcast that posts every week or every 2 weeks or every month.
We want to. Does that count?
There
it
is
should count.
there is an interest in that for sure. But what we are is we're a group of gamers who have families, who have work lives, who come to you and are very real with who we are when it comes to our fandom and our love. So when you see us doing silly interviews at a popular culture convention, or you see us sitting here to play a game, or you have our roundtable discussions, you are getting who the established facts are. A group of people who have differences of opinion when it comes to religion and politics, which is exactly why we don't talk about it on this podcast. But what we do have is a love for games and a love for the friendship and who we are like in each other. And I think it's important in general. And I'm sorry if this kind of sounds like a State of the Union address. I'm not trying to do that. I may be recording this for my own personal reminder. This podcast existed as a reason for us to get together and be deliberate about talking about gaming. And I want it to stay that way.
And we still do.
Yep.
There we go.
So I'll go next if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So how my life and my gaming life has changed in the what? So
You played Zelda for 5 straight years.
It is
Facts,
true.
big facts.
Don't forget about wasn't there Dragon Age in there too?
there is Dragon.
There was some Dragon Age in
Dragon
there
Age,
too.
Legend of Zelda, top 2 tier.
Yeah.
There is no Dragon Age,
Is
only
your
Zelda.
husband as big a fan of Zelda as you are?
Not at all.
Okay.
I love him so
I
much.
didn't think he was, but I was just...
No, he still hasn't. He's not played more than maybe 40 hours of Tears of the Kingdom. And I told him, I said, listen, it has been out for a year and I've not spoiled anything. Please play it.
As if that's a small amount of time.
It is, though, when I've put like 700 and some hours.
I know, but it's not though. 40 hours is a lot of time
No, it's not. He's not done.
for anything.
That's one
He's
whole
not-
week at a full-time
He's
job.
not done any of the storyline. I just want to talk to him.
It is it is the curse of the open world game. I'm
It
running
is.
into
Big
that
facts.
with Cyberpunk right now.
Yeah, big
I
facts.
literally walked into a DLC on accident.
Yeah, you can play it for 40, 50, 60 hours and not actually accomplish much.
No.
It's very possible. Anyways, tangent aside.
Yeah.
So my real life and my gaming life have both changed significantly because 11 years ago I was on this podcast with some pretty much stranger friends. Like I had done the first session of Don's Paragons of Palagane advanced people because obviously I was in the beginner one and I was brand new to role playing, but because it was Mike who was like, hey, you should come do this thing. Mm-hmm. He was like, you can come to this one even though you're not advanced because you know literally no one else. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah, I remember. Weren't you in our group?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I remember.
It was
you
me.
were Mike's friend Katie.
Yep,
That's
I was
how we
Katie
knew I was
from
in your
work.
bed.
I remember, and it was me and you and Josh and Don and Bonnie and Kayla.
Yes, that is
I remember
exactly
meeting
right.
you in passing.
Yep. And so that's it. Then
As
it was
the
like,
group
hey,
switched.
we do a podcast. You want to be on it? Because we're doing a recording. And I was like, that sounds neat. I've never done a podcast before. Sure.
Yeah.
And now,
And
here
that's
you
the
are.
day Princess Katie was crowned.
Yeah. Yep. I was. Yeah. And
We still got to get you a tiara.
I know. Well, I made the one
There
year.
was
That's
some
true.
crazy
That
hours
is
at
true.
that store we were at in Metamora.
But I literally, my husband and I bought the house that we moved into a year ago because it is on this side of town that you guys live on. We are one neighborhood away, depending on the road you take, from this neighborhood right here. Because it was really hard for me to make the 45-minute drive from where we used to live. And now I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm going to hang out at Joshy's for the podcast. No big deal. Let's go over do the thing. Mike and Kayla live in this same neighborhood. Donna and Bonnie live.
Deliberate note: board game night with Katie and Jake. Got it.
He's putting
Yeah,
it on
I
there
mean
right
that's
now.
and that's the thing.
And
too, so-
Don and Bonnie and Lance and Vanessa
and I was gonna
and
say
Jason and Avital. I literally, between all of us and our children, it's only 21 people. We just need a really big cabin. I'm down. I love how
I'm
you
down.
guys are laughing.
John says no, but
I'm
for
not.
real,
I know.
y'all.
For real.
I'm
Jason,
so
yeah, we're doing-
serious.
I'm not laughing because I don't think
I
you're
know,
serious.
No, it's awesome.
Yes.
I'm laughing because I'm gonna be the one planning it all.
But how my gaming life has changed. When I first got into this whole big realm of playing games that weren't just, Clue and Scrabble and Monopoly,
Right.
I lived with Mike and Kayla, having recently been kicked out of my parents' house. And I didn't really have a lot of things of my own. And now I have this entire collection of games that I've bought. And it's really nice to see from where I came from, a baby board game. Okay, I bought one game at GenCon. I'm gonna put it in my one spot in the closet here. And now I'm yeah, I've got this whole shelf full of games, and I've not played a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's
Like
like
a
it
true
all.
gamer.
True gamer.
I'm a collector, not a player. That's my husband and I's big joke. We are actually just board game collectors
That's
because
it.
of the number of games we have still in the cellophane.
That's what we
Well,
are.
Oh no, I'm dragon collector.
You know,
That's
so
accurate.
can I
That
tell
also.
you, we talked about this at work. I know this is a quick, very literally 30-second
That's the
tangent.
fourth one of the time. Go ahead.
You know what the difference between a collector and a hoarder is? Is a collector has a place for everything.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, okay,
valid,
yeah,
that's valid.
I like it. Yeah, collect.
Okay.
I don't hoard.
So if you have it on a shelf, you're a
yeah,
collector.
it's got a spot. We're
It's got a
good.
spot.
All right,
Yeah,
you're a
That's
collector.
fair.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah,
you
so
They can't even see this. They're just saying that just believe that.
collectors, not hoarders, y'all.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't need
Even
help.
if you put extra
We-
shelves
yeah.
in,
we don't want help.
specifically,
Well,
For
we
that
don't
purpose.
want we don't
This
want
what
help.
this wall is for later.
more
Yeah,
shelves.
the extension.
Yes.
The extension.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put shelf. There's a lot of shelf space.
Yeah, there's
He
a
says a lot. I know.
Shelf. Yeah, it's
I
it's
know.
on purpose. Avi told it's on purpose.
Josh
I know.
and Deb's third house will be a dragon.
It would be a dragon.
It will be a dragon. There was an old woman who lived in the shoe, and Josh lived across the street in a dragon.
I'd like to see that HOA.
It's just the magical forest or something.
You must keep the fire stoked. The smoke must continue to
Yeah,
come out
yeah.
of the nostrils.
Fair.
That
Love
the
it.
appearance is more realistic.
That's
That's
it.
part.
I
That's
love-
in the
I
HOA.
Part of
love
your
where we're
bylaws,
at.
yeah.
I
Gotta
love where we're at.
You gotta agree.
That's what happens when you become the HOA president. Nobody else would approve my agreement. My own homeowners association. And these three houses.
Love it.
But yeah, that's it for me.
That's good.
This podcast has irrevocably changed my life. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Yo.
You're welcome.
It's gaming. Haven't played a lot of board games lately, and part of that is just because of life, and part of it is because of how I am weird about playing board games, how I really don't like to play competitive board games, and a lot of games are competitive. Beside the point. And also these days, sometimes the thought of learning how to play a new game just already makes me tired. I've just been going through a lot of stuff lately, work and health and lots of things, so I'm just like,
Not enough spoons to learn a new game.
exactly, not enough spoons.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Not enough spoons. But because I started streaming on Twitch, like I do play more like computer games than I ever used to. I mean, like I played like some stuff like when I was a kid, you know, on the computer, and a little bit of video games too. My brother was always bigger. I would watch him a lot, which is, you know, it's almost like nostalgia of watching Twitch streamers. I'm like, there are people that don't understand why you would watch someone else play a game, and I'm out here like who spent childhood watching my brother play games. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's a good time. Like,
I love this.
it's great. Like, I just get to hang out and experience the game, like, you know, stuff like that. I have. The funny thing is I have a lot of computer games that I've never played because you pay attention to when things are free or when they're like highly on sale. Like, I didn't know if I ever would want to play Portal, but I bought Portal 1 and 2 because they were on sale for like $2.
Yes.
There you
You
go.
know what I mean?
They are super cool.
Don't
Super
find
cool
Humble
games.
Bundle. Don't run into the Humble Bundle. You'll.
I did that already.
Okay.
And I have only
late.
played one of those games.
I understand. My library has tripled.
It was like
because of Humble Bundle.
OG
Yes, it
Baldur's
has.
Gate and like a bunch of other of games of that ilk, and I tried one of them, and I could probably get more into them, but like I had the settings too hard, and it like threw me off of the
Yeah,
first
you-
game that I played, and then I just haven't played any of the other ones. Anyways,
You definitely did, and those aren't easy games
Yeah,
either.
the
But
older
we
ones
both
especially, they're
got
not easy
that
games.
humble
Yeah.
bundle.
we both got the same humble bundle. Yeah.
It's for charity.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It was.
Absolutely support your charities and buy and pad your Steam library, please.
It's like,
Developers need it. So do the kids.
For just $1
But-
a day, you can support your local developer.
my current like role playing game life, I don't know how much I would be role playing if it didn't happen in my house. And my husband is the
hi.
game master.
It's nice to meet you.
You know what I mean? It's just sort of like, oh, we just have to
In my
agree what
house,
day
my
we're gonna
husband's my
play,
game
and I
master.
just have to be there. You know. And you know, I'm having fun. I'm playing my first bard at the moment.
Yeah.
Pathfinder still one.
Nice.
Still Pathfinder 1.
Best Pathfinder.
There you go.
He has lots of opinions
take.
about
Hot take.
role-playing games.
It's not a hot take. We know that already.
It only gets confusing when you're trying to figure out CMB versus CMD. That's all.
That
Agreed.
was like briefly mentioned in trying to explain something to me yesterday, and I was just like,
Dot.
Attacking AC. Are you doing anything else physical? Combat maneuver bonus versus defense. Moving on.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. But
Sure.
whatever you say.
Truth.
Oh, whatever you say.
Roll
But,
a d20 and you'll be fine. Just roll it.
Roll a d20.
Was it over 12? Good job. Moving on.
Good, you did well. But with the streaming and watching more streamers, and specifically, I didn't even say the name of the RPG that I've been watching that brought the Brazilians to my stream. This content creator, streamer, game maker, his name is Selbit. He's from Brazil. He's huge in Brazil. I had never heard of him before he was added to this Minecraft server that was like an international Minecraft server, which was a really cool concept. It is finished now, but it was a really cool thing while it was going on. And not only is he like a streamer, but you know, he made this RPG that he played with his friends online, and everybody watching it. It was really big. I've been watching it, obviously with subtitles. I'm nearing the end of the part that has subtitles, so I'm like, because there's so much more. It's not because it's a fan group called Equipe T, which is a Team T, like for translate, that do these subtitles on like his official channel. Like they add them,
That's
cool.
really neat.
and he talks to them and works with them, and like because they just care so much about this project, like they're just passionate about it, and they want to like help more people experience it. And now that he was on this Minecraft server, even more international people are aware of him. But he's also, it's called Ordem Paranormal, or Paranormal Order in English.
It's super cool, and I want to be able to get it and play it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have emailed the publishers about buying the PDF, which is still in Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese. But I should be able to use some like auto translator
I
things
was gonna say Google
Yeah.
to look at it.
or some
But
kind of
yeah,
auto translate.
but
Adobe has some
they
too.
just have to get back to me just because of how their form works.
Yeah.
It requires like Brazilian like ID numbers and stuff.
Oh, right, which-
But they're like, all right, well you can do this and put this in the form but anyway, I'm still waiting for a response on something else. But I lost. He's also for 4 years been working on a video game, a computer game called Enigma do Medo, or Enigma of Fear.
Oh, nice.
And what I think is so cool is that after like he joined this Minecraft server and like met more people and like started meeting more international people and becoming more internationally known, he made the decision to add English and Spanish dubs to his game.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
And so on my birthday this past week, on Tuesday, the English and Spanish trailers dropped. The same trailer, which
Yeah.
I actually hadn't watched, but with the English
That's
voice
cool.
actors and with the
Nice.
Spanish voice actors.
cool.
It's very cool. But just the fact that like I'm considering like the idea of like maybe actually trying to run something in the Ordum paranormal universe.
Yeah.
Like that I'm even considering that is like wild to me because I have been a game master once.
Quags.
You guys were there. It was in Quags, which is easy.
Actually, I guess it was more than once.
I don't know exactly what he uses now. I just know it's a D20 based system. Right, but there are, because he's got his whole book and
Yeah.
then there's a supplement and they add new mechanics. I think it's just his whole own system now at this point. But just experiencing these new things and maybe even considering doing things that I would have thought were really more outside of my comfort zone. Like, it's just been an interesting thing, like, to watch this happen. And it's still one really not sort of not exactly related, but one super cool thing that happened while I was streaming and watching the RPG and reacting to it. One of the streamers who was playing in the RPG showed up in my Twitch chat.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
Like, the follow popped up, and I saw that it was the same name, but sometimes those could be like...
Yeah, they tweak it just enough
You
to where,
could
like,
mess
you
with
look-
it,
you
right?
look at
Yeah,
it,
you
And I'm like,
and it's somebody.
Oh, hang on.
thanks for
Wait.
the follow.
Right. What?
But it was
Yeah.
And then he talked in the chat, and it has the partner check mark, and I'm just like...
right. That it's actually
Oh,
him.
that is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Ordum watching streams are by far my most popular streams. Like, you know, my stream today, I played Papers, Please for the first time, and I had like an average of like 6 viewers, which when you consider how many people are streaming to like no one or one,
Right.
that's still a lot of people.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But some of my streams where I react to Ordum Paranormal, this RPG, I have like 20 and 30 viewer average, which is just insane to me.
Watching you react to
Right?
Order-
It's because there are so many people, Brazilians, and like some like Portuguese too, because it's the same language, right?
yeah.
That are so passionate about this project, and they're also like starved for content because they're waiting for the next spin-off
Right.
for Selbit to do, like, right, the next like one-shot spin-off thing that he, anyways, and they're just so excited and passionate about this content that they're like, oh wow, it's so cool. A foreigner is like reacting
Watching an
to
American
this thing that I love.
is reacting to
you know.
this Brazilian. Yeah.
It's just really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But just
wild that that's even a thing now.
yeah, thinking about doing things that I wouldn't have thought about doing before and stuff. I don't know, it's just really cool. I'm, like I said, I am dealing with a lot of stuff, like with work and health stuff, and I had to do a whole bunch of teeth stuff lately, which was just horrible.
Yes.
Some of it was not even my fault. You know, like when you had a root canal like 10 years ago and then suddenly there's an infection like under the end of the root, I couldn't have prevented that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whatever. But just, even though, like, I'm not happy with where I am in, like, physical health, I'm, like, really excited to see, like, where things move forward from here. Because, like, who knows? Like, anything's possible. I'm not, like, expecting to, like, explode online, right? But I feel like if I keep doing this, that I will continue to grow. And who knows? Maybe something will come of it eventually.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Avital Elizabeth.
And there it is.
That was
Shameless plug.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great plug. All right, I like that.
Got you and Jason still to go.
Jason?
And we're
Go for it.
just talking along. I love it.
Basically. So do we still have like an announcement to make, or is we already made that announcement?
No, I mean the only thing I'll keep it is come find us at GenCon. Find us on Facebook, and we're going to be interviewing Tracy Hickman. You'll hear. I'm not. All I will say is you'll find out after GenCon most likely why we were interviewing him.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for if you're going to be there. There's 14 tickets left right now to the 2:00 Dragonlance panel over in the Marriott Grand Ballroom, I believe. From what I'm hearing, it's apparently a pretty big announcement coming from Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. I don't know what that announcement is because when I guessed, he just said that sounds fun.
Which sounds like
sounds like Tracy.
That sounds
Tracy.
like an
It's
answer
Tracy.
that Tracy
That
Hickman
sounds
would
like
give.
yeah.
And then PopCon Louisville, third weekend in August at not the Exposition Center, the Convention Center. The
Yeah, I
Black
think it's
Convention
the
Center.
The Yum Center.
The Yum Center. Is that what it is?
Is it?
There isn't Louisville's thing is called the KFC Yum Center.
I thought
Yeah,
that was
no.
the stadium. Is that the convention
Yeah.
center?
Yeah, I think the convention
I don't
center is
know.
the
I don't
Louisville
remember.
International Convention
Oh, I
Center.
don't know.
Regardless,
I just know
check
one
out
of them's the
popcorn.us.
KFC
I
Yum
think it's the
Center.
Yeah,
stadium.
If you go to popcon.us and you
The
click on
Kentucky
Louisville-
International Convention Center
I was close.
Right?
is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
August 23rd
Yum
to
Center
25th.
is for the
Sports ball.
Yeah.
So-
Popcorn.us.
Yes,
So the-
popcorn.us.
So those are our announcements?
Yeah, I believe so. Why did you have one too?
No, I
Oh.
just I figured I'd go into the whole thing, but for brevity, I have a very simple one, and it relates to the podcast and exactly what you were just talking about.
Okay.
The first time I did anything with any of you guys here is because of Avital. We met at a LARP, and
did.
then we became friends, and then more than friends. And the first time, it's not that I met you guys, I think, but the first time that it was invited to do something was at GenCon, an interview with Tracy Hickman,
Yeah.
and it blew my mind.
I do remember like mentioning it and you thinking that it was cool, and I asked Josh if I'm like, can Jason come and like hang out?
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
you bringing it in. Like, yeah.
Yeah, Don and I are pretty easy when it comes to, another person wants to come and sure, we'll collect another person, bring them along.
What for the collection? It's not a hoarding. They
That's
have
not
a
hoarding.
spot.
We have a spot.
Always
we have a
spot
place.
at our table.
So I can tell you the first time we met was at PopCon.
Yes, yeah.
You were helping with Worlds Collide.
Yes, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And I remember sitting there because Bonnie was there too, and there was the R2D2 guy. As you were interviewing Dave, and
Yep.
I remember all of that. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
That
That
was
is,
when and then it was that next Gen Con. I
yeah,
think.
that later that year, that was absolutely what it was. And so that was really cool. And I've been going to Gen Con for a long time, right? And so really short backstory: kid, me, 12, first time playing D&D, loved Dragonlance. Fill in everything. And I wanted to be a writer. Long time pass. I'm not a writer. I do other things. I'm coming back around. Go to Gen Con. Meet Tracy Hickman. Love Dragonlance. Oh my God, what is this life? Now, working in the industry as a writer in my 40s.
What?
Really weird, strange turn of events. And I can honestly say that it's because I met you guys. That, like, I've always wanted to do this thing, right? I've always been interested in doing it. But from meeting you guys, I've met other people in the gaming world, and friends of mine had ideas, and now we're in this place where, like, I go to these conventions professionally. I'm not saying that I'm the best thing ever. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just, it is an interesting perspective to go, I kind of want to do this thing, and then to be accepted to do this thing by the community is that gamers and gaming is an awesome community.
Yep.
And thanks for letting me be even more of a part of it than I was before.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to
Absolutely.
cry.
That
I
was
am.
so
He is.
sweet.
I'm not gonna cry. I don't even like you, Jason. I'm just kidding. I love you know, I remember not long ago us talking about how you were in school, you were finishing your master's, and you were talking to a guy who actually we ended up realizing that we both know, which was really funny. And that you had mentioned that you were like on a podcast or that you had spoken with Tracy Hickman or something like that. And he's like, okay, yeah. And you were like, yeah, no, check it out. And then he did. And he's like, dude, like you for real, like this is a real thing that you do. You're like, yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, Chauncey. Yes,
Like,
it is.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, man, that is so funny. It reminds me of the first time I had somebody say something to me at a PopCon about how they listened to our podcast. I went up and I introduced
It was Hoosier
myself.
Con.
It was it was the guys running the Hoosier Con
that's what it was,
room
yeah.
at PopCon. But I walked in and we were like, oh yeah, maybe we can sit down and play a board game or something like that. Let's check this out. And I walked over and I handed a guy my driver's license to borrow a game so we could sit down and play a game at their game library. And I said, hey, can I get that game? I honestly don't remember what game it was. But he goes, your voice sounds familiar. Are you Big Don? And I was like, okay, hang on. What? I know that we didn't go to high school together. And that's the only other place that people would just regularly refer to me like
Call
that.
you that.
And he was like, you host a podcast, right? And I was like, okay, stop. Just stop. What is happening right now? I was like, yes, I do. And he's like, the established facts. I was like, all right, where's the camera? What is going on? But it was just so surreal, like thinking about the fact that we started this podcast because we were a bunch of nerds who just wanted to talk about the things that we were already talking about. And, we might only have 13 people that listen to us on a regular basis. But the fact of the matter is, it's just surreal to think that there are other people that are having these same kinds of conversations, and they've been doing it for just as many years, and that we get a chance to kind of be a part of that, but also share it with other people. And I think that if there's one takeaway that I can kind of sum up, because I know we're wrapping, but to sum up just all of this, right, is that probably one of the greatest things that I can say, and it sounds kind of weird when I say it, Josh kind of already touched on it a little bit, is that I love being a collector. Not just a collector of board games, but I love being a collector of
People.
people.
Yeah, I don't want it to
Friends.
sound weird, like
Friends.
sort of
Friends.
like yes, friends,
A friend collector.
Meetings.
stories, just
Yeah.
people's lives, like being able to. Jason and I are really good friends with a guy named Frank. If you know the Frank,
You know the
then
Frank.
you know the Frank.
Go find him and get your little badge
ribbon.
thing this
He's
year. the
got a ribbon
shirt,
this year, yeah.
Oh.
But Frank is that same kind of personality. Frank went to a convention a couple of years ago and got a table with a friend of his named Kevin. And it is literally just called the Storyteller's Table. And you know what they do? You walk over and he tells you a story. It could be true. It could not. That's literally what he does. And I'm like, that is the greatest idea ever. Like,
We
I
need to
want
steal
10.
that.
Yeah, well, not steal. He'll just let us use
That's
it.
true. Oh, and then have him come sit at the table and we're like,
No, he
special
literally
guest.
told me when he did it, he was like, hey, if you're there, you can come and sit at the table. I'll go get lunch. I was like, yeah, done. But I very much am that kind of person. Like, I love, Bonnie gives me such a hard time sometimes because when I look at my Facebook, and like I probably have 1,500 people that are considered Facebook friends on my Facebook.
Yeah.
However, I will say,
800, I think so.
however, what I will say is I would say probably 500 of those people are people that I would love to sit down at a table with and talk with. And then the other 1,000 are people that I've had some sort of a transactional relationship with, whether it be, we were in a play or we played a board game or we had a really fun conversation one time at GenCon. because I don't mind sharing that. That's what my social media, I use it for.
Because Don's a golden retriever who's
That's
never
it.
met an enemy.
That is 100% it. If you ever hear me use the phrase, I have golden retriever energy, that is exactly what I mean. Like, I am down to clown. Like, I love meeting new people, and being a part of this podcast and being a part of Gen Con, just to kind of bring it all together in a coalescent point. These two things have been such an incredible vehicle for me. I would say next to my relationships that I've developed in church and things like that, those two things have probably been the next biggest contributor of the relationships and of the strength of relationships that I have with the people that I have. And I know that that's never going to stop. And I am so gracious for that. I am so excited to be able to sit here with the five of you, and just thinking about the other friends that we've had on here, my wife, my brother Prime, Mike Massey, Anton, Derek, Lance, we love you, and
Come back
better.
soon.
positive vibes and prayers for Lance. He's just
Come
in
back
some
soon.
pain and needs some thoughts. But just everyone who has been involved in our podcast, whether it be people we talked to, people who just hung out, people who had ideas, people that chat with us online, just all of it. Like, 13 years is nothing to sneeze at. That's insane. That's an insane amount of time to be doing something like this. That's just silly. It's just fun, silly stuff. And I love it. And I love you guys, and I love you guys. And I don't know what, the next 13 years is going to look like, but I know that the people that I got at this table are my ride or die. So, if you ain't got them, you better find them, or you can just come and hang out with us. Because we'll be your ride or die.
Avital brings snacks.
Exactly.
Fact.
Lavital's got the snacks. I'm going to
That's
tell
it.
you to sit down and take a breather when you need it.
Right.
Don will talk your ear off.
I got your beer.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude,
And
got you
Princess
covered.
Katie's got games she hasn't even played yet.
Exactly.
Along with all the chaos.
And
Yep.
chaos
Yeah, I'll make
energy.
you walk
Big
until your
chaos
legs fall
energy.
off.
That's
It.
right.
Chaos.
That's
But she'll
it.
finally have a tiara after all of that trouble. So
That's it. Okay, well, to bring everything to a close, our bookend, we always like to establish a new fact. We've been doing it for 13 years.
Yeah.
We actually have two, which, happens.
Part of the course.
I had one, and then Dr. Deb decided to jot one down, which is fantastic. So I'm going to start with hers, because ladies first.
Oh.
And then I'm going to do mine, because, I'm vain.
He is the voice of the main voice of
I'm
the
sorry.
podcast.
He's one of the few exceptions in the world to be both humble and vain.
That's a fact.
It's true.
It's that golden retriever energy.
He's the humble
Pay attention
bundle.
to me. I'm the most important person in the room, but I love you too, Dad.
Exactly.
Love you,
So
Dad.
true.
Okay, so this is actually, hang on. On our last episode of the Established Facts, episode 255 of the Established Facts, this is what we established. It's our PopCon episode, actually. Myself, Josh, and Avital. Characters can make or break a game, but no more and nothing more than a Monopoly table flip. And if
so
you know,
true.
you know.
Yeah,
And if you don't open that door.
Nope,
Just
nope.
saying.
Don't do it.
Now, for episode 256, the long game, if you will, Dr. Deb's fact, I love it. It says, there's always a spot at our table. And that is a fact, 100%. There's always a spot at our table. And way less genuine and way more silly. What does 13 years of podcasting with the Established Facts and Gen Con have in common? We both play the long game.
Nice.
There you go. There you go. That's
there
for you.
have it.
That's for you guys. Love you guys. We love you too. Thank you for joining us on episode 256 of the Established Facts. That's right, our 13 years of podcasting.
We're a teenager.
We'll check you later. Deuces.
Bye.